what about their music has really kept you along for the ride this whole time?
Yeah, so I first heard them actually on the radio on XRT. I heard Little Lion Man. And then I was on a retreat actually. And so I heard them on the radio and I'm like, why are they saying the F word so much?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was the first song of theirs that I heard
So-
too. And I was very, very put off by how
And
much
I
they were
was-
cussing in that
It
song.
was 2009, I believe, when Sign No More came out.
Okay.
So I would have been 19. But I remember other people saying that I really looked up to, like, yeah, there's something really cool about this group. So I still respected them, but I wasn't a fan. And then I heard, I was on a retreat and somebody played Sign No More, the opening song. They played that song and I was immediately hooked. Immediately felt there was a deeper message there about faith and about conversion and about awakening, sort of. And so after hearing that song, I listened to the whole album and was very much just pulled in by it. The deeper level, it was and people would say like, oh, they're Christian, but they don't talk about their Christianity. And I was always like, why aren't they talking about their Christianity? And I think there's a whole, people were like, why is Mumford ashamed, whatever. But regardless, I mean, that doesn't matter. You can still pull out truths, even if they're not explicitly Christian. And so I was just very much intrigued by that style of speaking about things about faith and about love. And then I actually took a long hiatus from Mumford and Sons after Sign No More. I listened to Babel, but I wasn't immediately hooked. I didn't listen to Wilder Mind for a while, and then I just kind of went on a break, and I would only listen to Sign No More. That was the only album I would listen to. I just kind of brushed off the other two because I just didn't feel like they compared with how amazing Sign No More was. But then somewhere down the line, I think probably when I met you, Tim, we talked about Mumford and Sons, and you really encouraged me. You're like, you gotta listen. You've got to listen to Babel. You've got to listen to Wilder Mind.
I think I was convinced at the time that Babel was their greatest album.
Yeah, and so I did. I did Babel. I gave Babel a listen. I'm like, yeah, wow, I really was missing out all these years. And then, I listened to Wilder Mind, and kind of just fell back in love with who they were and what I learned from them. And they've accompanied me in some of my saddest moments, some of my most joyful moments. When I need a good therapy session, I'll just listen to their music, and it helps me to process things in life. It feels like, I don't know, something with my DNA. It matches my DNA, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels really good when I listen to them. Like medicine, like good medicine. So.
Chicken Soup for the Soul?
Yes!
Yeah. Do you have a favorite album of theirs currently?
Currently,
I know it's almost an impossible question to ask because you're presented with 4 of the greatest albums ever written in the world.
I mean, I'm really right now. I'm actually having a moment again with Sign No More. For a long time, I would have said Wilder Mind, and I still love Wilder Mind. But right now, like today, this past month, I've been revisiting Sign No More a lot.
Okay. So
I'd have to say Sign No More, but pretty soon I'm sure I'll go back to Wilder Mind. Babel will probably pop in there. I really enjoy Delta. Thank you. I wanted to say Guiding Light, but Delta. Delta, that one I really enjoyed when it first came out. And I'm still trying to unpack that one. So, I'm not even going to get into the other one. Blah, blah, blah. Which one is that?
Babel?
No, the one that they did in South Africa.
Oh, Johannesburg.
Yeah, thank you. I know.
That one, we'll have to do like a bonus season where we talk about that EP because that's just, Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, I think for me, in terms of favorite album, yeah, I've gone back and forth over the years too about which one's my favorite. I think Sigh No More is the only one that's never been my favorite album. Yeah, which is nothing against Sigh No More, but just speaks to how great I think the other three albums are. And so Babel was my favorite for a long time because when I first discovered them, it was my dad actually discovered them first. He liked the sort of, folksy bluegrass quality of it. He's always been one to pay more attention to the music than to the lyrics. So it was their that sound of them that really attracted him to them. And for some reason, the only times he would play them when I was around was when we were in the car on the way home from a long car ride. So it would be late at night, it'd be dark. Most people would be sleeping. I'd be sort of drifting in and out of sleep, and he would play Babel then. And so Babel was my first exposure to Mumford and Sons, and it still sort of shares in that sort of dreamlike, ethereal quality that it took on as I was, just sort of like imbibing it while I was half in and half out of sleep. A little while after that, I started exploring them more on my own. It was right about the time that Wilder Mind came out, and I wasn't much of a fan of Wilder Mind for a while. I would just stick with Babel and Sigh No More for the most part, but eventually really fell in love with Wilder Mind, and that was my favorite for a few years until Delta came along, and Delta has stolen my heart away. I'm thoroughly convinced that Delta is the best. It's my favorite musical album that I've ever discovered out of all the music I've ever listened to. It might not be the best in every respect, but the way I see it, it's just so incredibly profound, and the music and the lyrics work so well together. I think that's one thing that they get better at as the albums progress, is getting the tone of the lyrics and the music to match each other and to play off of each other better, which is one of the reasons why I think their move towards a somewhat more electric sound was a good move for them. As much as I do enjoy, the stomp and holler banjo quality of the early albums, I think they reach a profundity with that electric sound in Wilder Mind and in Delta. So I'm just excited to be kicking off a new stage of that journey with this podcast, and looking forward to having all of you listeners and viewers follow along with us and keep us accountable to make sure that we actually do this. So thanks for watching or listening to this, and watch for that first episode to drop. Sigh No More on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sigh No More.